Good evening, everyone. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. Let me know in the comments that you can hear me perfectly well. And I'll very quickly adjust. So, hello, everyone. So, I'll very quickly adjust the chat bar for you all to be able to read that. For some reason, this doesn't like doing it immediately. So, there we go. I think you can all... Good evening. Loud and clear. Perfect. So, welcome to the live feed. I'll be here for, maybe up to a couple of hours, maybe. We'll see how it goes. Dependent on how many questions you have, and what the staying power of everyone is. So, sorry, I've just got... Whoa, camera. Come on, camera. That's it. Camera through out there. So Marco's turned up. So hi to everyone. I would call you out individually, but I'll be here all night in the end, wouldn't I? If I'd done that. So I will start going through your questions very quickly in a moment. Very quickly, just got to do the plugs. So May the 4th workshop. There is a few spaces left on that one. Contact mediumcharliekelly.co.uk or the page on Facebook under Medium Charlie Kelly. May the 2nd Dem, which you should have seen a poster for at the start. Tickets can be purchased from mediumcharliekelly.co.uk. And then all other workshops are down to a couple of spaces each for the rest of the year. If you are interested, I need you to get in contact. There is waiting lists available in case there is a last-minute cancellation for the one-day workshops. The only one that goes over a weekend is the trance one, and that's in June. And if you're interested in that, contact mediumcharliekelly.co.uk. And I'm already sick of that website, so... Let's move on from that. So that's all my little notes done. For all other teaching for the residentials, for the time being, you will find me at earthshamstar.co.uk, where you will find a list of the remainder of this year. And I know we are currently going through next year's, what do you call that? Next year's diary, next year's plan on what ones are available. So keep an eye out for that, because I will be posting that up on my Facebook page. Not necessarily my profile page. I try not to do too much on my profile page, but from there, I will. You will see everything that is associated with me and what I promote, where I am, what I'm doing, etc., etc. So everyone's saying hi. So I hope you've all got questions at the ready. And I'm just going through the beginning part of that scroll, so I will be looking away from the camera and looking down onto the screen, sorry. I will be reading your questions. If there are no questions and the questions run out, I will just turn off and we'll call it a day. So for now, thank you for joining me, and we'll see how intense this one gets. Had a very good one on Facebook recently. But I'm not a big fan, and I don't mean like I delete some of you. I mean, once they come in too thick and fast, there's no way of going back. So, hi to everyone. And it looks like there is a question coming. So, Lorraine. So, Lorraine says, I have a question. How do you start getting your own database together? Do you write it all down and journaling? Some people learn better by writing it down. I do know a few people that keep journals on their journey, on their on those moments that seem to work very well for them. So they jot it down, and then some people learn by writing down, and because they've wrote it down, it seems to stay in their mind. So that is one way of doing it. However, once it's touched the mind and it goes into your memory as such, that database can just be added to over your lifetime. So you don't have to write it down, just the experience will help. And then it can be used as a reference point by the spirit world as they are trying to communicate their message, their evidence, their story, fill in the blank. So I hope that answers that question there, Lorraine. If you're not happy with that answer, maybe word it slightly differently and I will try again. So Nina, so good evening. Hi Charlie, how can I get information to come in stronger? Sometimes a link feels impossible because I'm not getting strong visions or feelings. It's too subtle. So Nina, did you watch today's video? The way to get it to come in stronger, we need the focal point to be right. So you might be focusing very much on the visual aspects of it, but some stories are best told by a feeling or by a sound or by an emotion. And so we need to make sure that when we're working in one space of our mind there, like looking at all the visuals, that actually we're doing a double check here in this part, that we've got the we're listening and we're feeling for the information. The more and more, it's actually a catch-22 in a way there, Nina, because as we are working with the spirit world, in our early days, we're trying to highlight the visions, we're trying to highlight the feelings and the emotions and the sounds that come with it. But actually, by making it so strong, it's occupying a lot of your mind. And what we're trying to do is give them that freedom of mind to get more of their story across. So the more and more you do it, the more and more subtle it becomes. So it's kind of a catch-22. So I appreciate that some feel like they're impossible, but that will be that reference base that I speak about so much. You're finding it hard because maybe you haven't got the reference in there for them to use. So try and look at it in that way. I can see directly under your question there, Nina, Carol has added the Deepen Your Evidence video, which is quite an old video now. I need to update a few of them, but that will definitely help you out in deepening that story, that evidence that you're looking for. So thanks for the question. That just jumped a massive amount now. Where are we? Missy. So Missy says, I have a lot of sleep paralysis since I was a teenager. On falling asleep, sometimes I instantly go into a trance-like state. A man's face talking in my mind, but too fast to understand. There's a very simple process there, Missy. So just ask them to slow down. But I will brace you because here it comes. Here comes the drawing, and I know you all love the drawing, don't you? So, oh, this is terrible. This is terrible. So most of you know this now, and it's something that me and my colleague use an awful lot at the school. I can't remember which side I need it. Hold on. Okay. So what we're doing is like, look at that. That's amazing, ain't it? So 27 thoughts is your everyday. Cool, let's try and stop the glare there. 27 thoughts. And you go into 13, this area here, which is the inspirational mediumship kind of stage here. Then this is trance here at 7. Down to 5 is trance. And then just under that here, around 4 is sleep. So what happens is that you're becoming very aware as it comes round and you're dropping off to sleep. You're becoming aware. So the fact that you're aware in this space here means that you're actually not in that space there because you're aware. So it'll be in this area here or just in this area or that area you're asleep. So you're actually here and then you're falling to sleep. So you're aware. And in that moment, when you're at this point here, if you just ask them to slow down, I can't hear you, it's not making sense to me, they'll adjust that accordingly. they'll start to. There's no point in talking to you if they don't understand, or you don't understand what's going on there. So I hope that makes sense. And this is like a new little board. Look, I can wipe it off. I just run out and grab this. So it cost me £1. This live feed is costing me £1 for the props. So all these pounds keep adding up though. That's the problem. So okay, so hope that answers you there, Missy. Yeah, so if there's any more on that, if you want to sort of dial your question in a little bit more, I can maybe answer it a little bit more uniquely to you. So J, I think that's what that is, JJ. What? Nice change to the background. You look like you're in a newsroom. No. Do I? In a newsroom? Do I? Okay, cool. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. So, yeah, just fancy mixing it up a little bit. So, something different. So, Missy, I knew it was truth for some reason, although never understood a word. Well, if it's the spirit world, it is in truth. That's what the spirit world are. They are purity. The spirit world is a purity. So, that's why that is. Just ask them to slow it down. Hi, Charlie. What does it mean when you see a white crow? Welcome back, Chris. Nice to see you back. I don't know. I have no idea. No idea what the white crow means. And for everyone else watching, that is a little bit of an inside joke going on there. So welcome back. Nice to have you back, Chris. Misresponsibility. I know that you have put a message on my latest video. I never got a chance to get round to read that message though, but I will respond as I usually do, hopefully. There is a concept of raising your vibration as a means of connecting to spirit. You describe it as shifting your awareness. Are these basically the same concepts? Continued. Raising vibration to me meant making sure you're feeling good, feeling love, feeling excited, etc. Raising your vibration, we don't have, where did it go? Wow, a lot of you jumps on there. Okay, so raising your vibration. We don't have a dial that we can sort of go, you know, like we can. Let me change camera so I can see what I'm doing. We can't sort of raise it by just upping the ampage. Yeah, that would be great. So what we do is in the early days, we're taught to meditate. We're taught to go to the power. We're taught to connect to the spirit world, open up our mind, and that will help raise the focus. But actually, it's just a moving of the mind. I just move my mind to the spirit world, and as I do it, I can feel myself go. I can feel myself enter the spirit world, and as I do that, I become aware. And that's when I'll start to work. So actually the raising of vibration, that love, all the things that you speak of, actually just happen as I move my mind to the spirit world. So it's just a shifting of awareness. So yes, they are the same concepts. Under that question, Misresponsibility is the new video today. So hopefully some of you have watched that. I've seen today's video, Nina. So if you go away and watch today's video, not now, do it after. But it's actually because when you're working with someone from the spirit world, what happens is your story may match up just wonderfully perfectly, and everything just flows wonderfully well. And because that happens, they have a very similar story or very similar experiences, and because this happens, it just fits together. When it's not fitting together, it's a little bit edgy and it's not quite sinking in and it's falling all over the place, is because you may not understand that way. You may not understand that story or understand that lifestyle or the life choices. So you've kind of got to sort of beat around until you find something that kind of fits but doesn't fully marry up. So that's why it will feel that way. It comes with time, and wouldn't it just be wonderful if they were all like that? But in today's video, I actually discuss how we can help the spirit world in that way. So hi Chris, hi Carol. Yes, been busy. Nice to be back. Thought Charlie a little cheek first. Yeah, of course. Why not? Lorraine, how do you keep life stresses and depression from messing up your own spiritual journey? I find I do so well, then I get pulled off with something that has happened in my life. Any advice on keeping positive? You can. Some people work very differently. We all work very differently, and unfortunately, life stresses do take over. And the way that I try to present that is that in this reality, I see myself as two. I see myself as two. So in my everyday life, I allow myself to make mistakes. I allow the stresses and the worries to go with this one. And then when I step over into this one here, that's my mediumship. That's my spiritual aspect. So what I do is I tell myself that this one is perfect, just in the, I don't know, in the affirmation or in the mind. And in this one, you know, like, things do get me down and things do worry me, and some things do, you know, annoy you, and they do get to you. You're a human being, that happens. But then when I shift my awareness to my mediumship, I see it as perfect. So I know that when I step away from this and go back to here, all my problems and that I have are waiting for me. They're still there. So for the moment, I will just shift my awareness to this and forget them altogether. So give it a try. It's not easy though. It takes a little bit of practice. It can be very, very difficult. But these things make you grow. These things help you. They will define you as a person. They will define you as the medium that you will be coming to. But I will try and find some positive ways to get that onto a video, and see if it can give you something to work with. So it's a good video idea. I will try it. So Marco asks, my mentor Bernard, don't know how to say that surname, passed away last month. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that, Marco. I know it would be important to remain in touch with him as he is now in the spirit world. Do you have any suggestions on how to tackle this issue? Absolutely, Marco. So what we do is we can go in with the intent, and you know my work enough, Marco, to know that I do this very regular. So you can go in with the intent of Bernard. You can go in with the intent. And you can have your own chat. It's very difficult because you will hear things that you think you want to hear. So it'd be very difficult. So what I would do is maybe not go in with questions, but go in with statements, you know, things that you want to say to him, things that you want to let him know. And that will make you feel better in that process. That will help you in some way. Sorry, I need to move this leg. My leg's killing me. Oh, what have I done now? This will help you in that understanding of connecting with him. But you can only take my word for it, mate. He knows everything that's going on. He knows that when you give him that thought, he will be there. He will be very close, and he will be advising, and he will be trying to give you inspiration. He will be there as and when you require him to be there. So certainly don't worry about making that connection, because the connection's already there. It's you that I have to convince, not Bernard. So I hope that helps you in some way. And again, I'm sorry to hear that news, Marco. Yes, my next question was going to be on how to better build my frames of reference for better evidence. Again, there is another video there. But let me give you an example of one of what I did and then you can implement it in your own way for the things that you want to implement into the way that you tell the story of the communicator. So I was very aware that one night I was working somewhere that sounded much better than my accent. It sounded like they know what they're talking about, and the area was like, it was just that of money and, you know, that kind of lifestyle, sort of middle to upper class. And I realized that when I was working there, I didn't know how to get on the wavelength or understand the people that were in front of me, and I found it very difficult. Now, I got through it because of what I had, but I realized that I didn't have the reference bases that I needed. So I come home from that demonstration and I back-to-back watched 2 series of The Crown, where it was all like money and royal family and all about the upper class kind of things, that gave me a reference base. So when I returned to that venue, I had better equipped myself to give them the reference point of my mind. So I gave them something to work with. So that will help you if you want to know, well, dependent on what area you want to do, you will cross-reference it. Now, I use literature, I use the TV, the movie industry, that kind of thing, to better my reference base for me at all times. So try something like that. I think that will help you. And there is also a video called Deepen Your Evidence, which is actually already in the comments there. The link has been posted in there. So again, thank you for another question, Nina. Hey, that's a good drawing. It really ain't. Chris, why not? Nice to see you. Oh, it's just jumped again. This gets on my nerves. Wow, Charlie has upped the game with his dry erase board. No more sticky notes, no more eBay artwork revenue possible. Oh no, I've still kept them, and they will be back. They definitely will be back. Lorraine, so ask the spirit world to slow down when you are in that trance state. Absolutely. If you are in a trance state, you're not aware. Your logic and judgment has gone. So actually, you just need to put the thought out that it's too fast for me. I don't understand it. You have to slow it down. You're not getting your message across. There's no value to it. It's not happening because I'm not picking it up. And then they wouldn't do that, would they? So just ask them to slow down and you'll be surprised. It will just slow down. It's literally that easy, literally. So hi, Chris, Kimchi. I'll just say Kim. What was your first medium reading like? For me, it was all right. You know, it was my first time. So I was aware of a lady, and I still remember it today, obviously. And I remember how she felt, and she felt quickly at the circle that I was at. So as far as I know, it was actually all right. It was all right. Thanks for turning up. So I'm glad you're here. So Missy says, my dad had a dream of Mum walking in the door and he was afraid. She was holding his arms to try and get in, but he said, you're dead. Is this a visitation? And Mum saying there's nothing to be afraid of. In my opinion, now many people will have lots of opinions there. It can fall into 2 brackets. It could be that your dad wanted that to happen, which makes absolute sense that he wants that to happen. And it can almost be part of the imagination that has happened. Or it is what you are calling a visitation. Mum has come to see Dad, and absolutely she'll be telling him not to be afraid. So both sit comfortably with me, and it will be one or the other. However, you will not convince your dad otherwise if he does not want to, or if he is constantly afraid. So take it at the value of the time, which is a wonderful thing, that mum has come to say hi. That's a wonderful thing. And kind of leave it at that. Allow the next episode as such to unfold. But what a wonderful thing to happen. Chris, is that the same as setting one's intention to raise vibration? Absolutely. It's just move the mind. As I said to you before, I've got to draw this again now, so my apologies. They're going to get... Oh, this one is terrible. I better give him hair because he looks atrocious. What we're trying to do is get out of the normal gear and get into the altered state. So as these cameras. So as we move our mind. Let me stop the reflection. So as we move our mind from every day, this is you just here every day. As we take a breath and we move our mind, it will just shift. And what we're trying to achieve in mediumship, mental mediumship, is we're trying to get into this area here. Just into this area here. The closer I can get to there, the better my mediumship, the better the evidence, the better the communication. If someone makes a noise or they try to disturb me, you know, like a heckler or something, it can sort of bounce around in this area and it's a much lighter state, and then back into this state, and I've lost my connection almost, so I have to work hard to get it back into gear, which is this gear here for mediumship. So I hope that makes sense to... Who was that from? I've lost it now. I think it was Chris. It was Chris. That's how we do it. So Kim says, who takes care of babies on the other side, and do they have names? So Kim, great question, one that we get asked a lot. But what I need to try and get you to understand is that they are not carrying a physical body anymore. So let me just have a drink quickly. So they're not carrying a physical body anymore. So they are not a baby. They're back to their original form of spirit. So let me just cover the mic quickly. So what we get caught in the trap of is that we have this idea that they're tiny little babies, you know, dependent on what age they grow to, you know, whether it be a newborn or a stillborn or a 2 or 3 year old. We're trapped by this idea that they remain like that, but it's their physical body that is still here. Their spirit is their spirit. Their spirit is something that will continually grow and has done for eons of time. So it's just one of those things that if we can remove the idea of what it of that human aspect of it, we can learn the mechanics of the spirit world. So the way that I try to do that, maybe I should have brought it down, but is I try to use like a Rubik's Cube as an example, and this one facet here, say that's your overall spirit. Let me get that in check there. That's your, let's say that's your spirit. This one here is your earthly incarnation, just this one. You may have had all these other ones, so that would lead to reincarnation, coming back. So you may have been someone else in this lifetime and one here. And what you're trying to do is perfect your spirit, but this one is just that. So that one may be a man, and this one may have been a child, you know, like a little person, a little being, like so. I hope that kind of makes sense. It's very difficult to try and explain that. this board is not going to be yellow for long. There's lots and lots of black ink all over it. Okay, so I hope that makes sense in some way there, Kim. Try and remove the idea, but I understand if you can't. It takes a long, long time to get to grips with it. You're a spirit having a physical experience, a physical journey, but you are first and foremost spirit. So, Sally, good evening, Sally. Shouldn't you be at Circle tonight? Hey, Charlie, how do you rate personal reflection within your development? An absolute must. I think you can be, you know, it's very, very difficult doing mediumship. It's fun and it's exciting at first. It's one of those things. But what we see a lot of is a lot of people that like to preach. They like to give opinion. They like to do what it is that they do, but they forget that you're on this spiritual journey. So I can speak for myself in this example. You know, when I first unfolded my spiritual journey, it was very difficult. I had a very different kind of lifestyle then. I was into mixed martial arts, and as I'm punching people in the ring and I'm fight training, the more and more I developed myself as this spiritual person, the more and more it went against my way of thinking. I wasn't trying to show someone a skill set in fighting, or I wasn't trying to hurt them in any way. I now want to educate, and I now want to go out there and show the world that the spirit world are there. And in turn, we're trying to understand that there are natural laws that govern this everyday world. And so what I speak is accountable. What I think is accountable. And I think a lot of people, when they're on a spiritual journey, they forget that has an impact. They forget that you can't go on Facebook, or you can't go on any kind of social media and preach spirituality, then behind closed doors be stabbing people in the back. That doesn't work that way. So personal development or personal reflection is absolutely a must. I always say during development, on the residentials especially, or in large groups of people, the moment you notice something within a singular person, it's not their fault that you don't like them. It's not their fault that they irritate you. It's not their fault that whatever they're doing annoys you on a whole level of irritation that you don't recognize. You know, it's like, rah, you're absolutely fuming. The problem is within self. So I think the mirrored philosophy is something that grows and grows and grows the more and more you develop. So I think it's very, very important to be looking at self throughout every day, every single day. So good question though, but you should now be at Circle. So Alfie, so good evening, Alfie. I've just been down to your part of the world. Family also. Missy, hope not too many questions. No, this is the point of the channel, Missy. So if you're asking them all, then they need to get in and shut you up themselves, don't they? So it's one of those things. This is the purpose of the live Q&A. Bring your questions, and I will try my absolute best to answer them for you. So you have loads of them. If so, answer others first. No, it's cool. I felt myself vibrate from the head all over. Loud, high-pitched noise. I'm sure I had fallen asleep. What was that? It could be a number of things. When you're looking at spirit communication, you have to understand the intelligence that's behind it. If things are loud, then you are looking for it in an audible. So as my attention's gone to that could be the spirit world. It could be tinnitus of the ear, you know. So we need to be looking at that. If it's not there all the time, then as the sound comes in and it be from the spirit world, and if I can't make sense of it, I will just say, I can't hear you. Give me it as a picture. Give me it as a sensation that I can understand, that I can give it a language to. So what was it? No one will ever know. No one will ever know. And I'm not going to try and convince you of a answer there, because the journey is yours. But what I'm trying to get across to you is that it is intelligent. They will not cause you harm or discomfort. Just ask them to change it, and it will very, very, very quickly change for you. So Nina says, Charlie, I've been sitting in a trance circle for about 6 to 7 months now online. My guide hasn't spoke yet, although I feel it's so close. Right on the line. Any advice on how I can get spirit to talk? I have the absolute best bit of advice for you, Nina. However, you are not going to like what I'm about to say. So do not switch off or be offended. But the first word, let me change the camera. The first word has to come from you. It has to. So if you can feel it's there, the first word has to come from you. So as the breath is being regulated and the mind in the altered state is moving into trance, it needs to be a workable energy. So as that happens, on the out-breath, they're controlling the out-breath. That first word has to be you. And your teacher should recognize that. The person that is running the trance thing online should recognize that you are not saying the word. And the first word is always on you. Now, it will be at a heavily altered state, but not a trance state. That word should take you into trance, or you're on the cusp of the trance. Therefore, it will take you into it. So you may be like, but I'm aware of it. I know what's going on. But it needs to be that first word that takes you over there. So that looks like it's frozen on the screen there. I don't know if it's completely frozen or locked out. I don't know if that's going to boot up. Let me try reloading it. I hope I don't lose you all. My apologies if it does. It's not. No, we're back. Are we back? We're back. So good. So, so you're going to get a technical problem there. Yeah, it's we're back. So all good. So let me get to the questions where we were. Oh, you're doing well with the questions, you lot. You're doing well. So I'm just trying to find them all. Don't know where I got to there. It was trance, wasn't it? There. So there you go. I've caught up with it now. So all done. Do you believe in ringing in the ears is spirit? There you go. So that's directly under Missy's question there. For me, it just doesn't make sense. Now there may be an awareness. The awareness may be like you need to look at the spirit world. Will they cause that discomfort? Absolutely not. They will not cause it. It may be just for you to recognize that the spirit world are there. So in part, I believe it is, but I think it's your awareness letting you know that the spirit world are there. So Miss Responsibility says, when did you consider yourself a professional medium or a working medium? What criteria did you give yourself before you reached that level? That's a great question, Miss Responsibility. I think it was when I hit the public domain on a very regular basis. I would call myself a working medium at that point. So maybe sort of like 30, 40 demonstrations under my under my belt gave me this title of a working medium. I think that's fair to say, isn't it? 30 dems, something like that, under my belt. When it become professional, I don't call myself a professional medium. But a profession is just someone that looks into a subject, and they know their subject. So when people started asking me questions, like when working mediums were asking me questions, when very high profile mediums were asking me questions on how to fix things within their mediumship, I think that's the level I realized that I've got into that professional bracket as such. But everyone is different, Miss Responsibility, in that sense. I think it's just, I wouldn't worry about the label. I would just do your thing, keep touching minds, keep sharing your truth, and I think the label will kind of stick to you as time goes on, yeah, and it will constantly change for you as well. I must warn you about that. Chris, how do you feel that your mediumship has transformed you and how you move through the world today versus what you used to be? Whoa, I'm able, I think mediumship gave me a third person perspective. I could see why people would react in the way that they do. What were they thinking when they did the things that they did or the things that they say? And I try and understand their position, or what, you know, I just try and have an understanding of their vision, how they are viewing the world, with the reality that they find themselves in. Years ago, I wouldn't have thought that way. I would have just reacted. I think mediumship has gave me a clarity. I think it lets me it lets me be empathic. It helps me understand why people are the way they are. And, you know, I've met some amazing people along my way, and I've also met what I thought was amazing people, and they've turned out to be horrible people, you know, manipulating people and all that kind of stuff. So how do I deal with it today? Do you know, I feel that I'm getting better and better at it, but the more and more I do it, the kind of the lonelier the journey gets, I think. And I don't mean that in a, oh, I feel sorry for Charlie kind of scenario. I just feel like I don't waste time now on needless things. You know, like if people are going to argue and people are going to talk about me and they're going to slag me off and they're going to try and put me down, then let them get on with it. I don't react to that now. I just let them get on with it. Because it says so much more about them than it does me. And I will continue, regardless, I will continue talking my truth, doing my videos, doing my live feeds, doing my demonstrations, doing my teaching. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, I will continue along that path. And the longer and longer this pathway goes on, the more easier I have found to not give negativity attention. And so for me, I think it's helped. The upset's not deliberate. I don't mean to upset them, but then I feel that sometimes it kind of, what they're doing will have an effect, or they've tried to have an effect on me. So I change it in that way. So I just don't pay attention. The truth's the truth. However you dress it, it's the truth. So I think I think it's helped me in that way. Whereas back in the day, I'd react, I'd punch him in the face, and I would get myself in a lot of trouble, and that sort of stuff. So it's much better for me nowadays. Much better. Marco says, thanks, Charlie. I thought questions would be not be okay for ego reasons. We'll go with statements. Perfect, absolutely perfect. And I know you well enough to know that you can just put the thought out there, mate. And no, don't believe, know it. Know that he picks them up. Kim says, in case it jumps, I asked who takes care of babies on the other side, and do they have names? I answered the baby one. No one takes care of the baby because it's not a baby. It goes back to spirit. But for the purpose of Kim, let's say, just as an example, your grandmother is in the spirit world and she wants to let you know that for your peace of mind, for your understanding, that she has the child. It's like this human perspective that makes you feel good, that makes you feel at ease and makes you feel much better knowing that grandma is looking after the child. So that will help in an evidence form that Nana's communicating or the child is communicating if it had the earthly breath. So they can do it through the form of evidence. But behind the scenes, the essence of the baby is that of spirit. It will always come through as a baby to you as the individual because that's the evidence that we can offer. But the spirit will always go on, if that makes sense. Do they have names? They will have the name that you named them. If it's unnamed, then there's no evidence in giving it a name. There's no point in giving it a name. Again, it's totally dependent on whether this child had an earthly breath, so I can do it through evidence, or if it was before delivery, would make a big difference there. So, hello, Samantha. Hello, Jenny. I was just talking to your son earlier, so welcome to the live feed. No problem, Missy. Lorraine, I had a dream of my father who looked great and happy. He told me he sits with mum and he said he hugged her as she was cutting her nails. I believe that was my dad and it made me feel connected to him. Absolutely, Lorraine. And it's very simple, isn't it? I mean, like, what a wonderful story. He looked happy, he told you he was happy, and he told you that he see mum, and she's doing something like every day, like just cutting her nails. She's just doing something very normal. And that for me is when it becomes profound. It becomes supercharged with spiritual energy. And of course that will make you feel connected. It will make you feel that essence will come through. It will bridge many gaps. So what a wonderful story. So I'm glad you shared that, Lorraine. Samantha, I second Lorraine's question. Do you consider ringing in the ears or a muffled feeling in one ear to be spirit communication if the context is right, thinking of a person trying to communicate? Yeah, in that case, the way that you've worded that, it can be, it very much can be. Again, it could be a multitude of reasons. It could be altitude. It could be tinnitus, as I said. I think that's how you pronounce it. Someone will pick me up on it if I'm wrong. But it's once those two are eliminated, then it can be drawing your awareness to the spirit world. But I always say it. I mean, just ask them for it in another way. Ask them to change it slightly, and you will get like a different input. You're hearing it now. Look for the vision now. Ask for the emotion, the sensitivity to come over you, and it will work perfectly for you. That's it. It just please don't make mediumship hard. Mediumship's not hard. We look beyond, and we don't need to look that far away. It's just here. It's just right near us. Hey. Okay. Chat disconnected. Please wait a while to try and reconnect you. Unable to connect to chat. Please try again later. So I will try and get the chat up and running again in a moment. So let me get through these questions and have them at the ready so I can reload the chat in a moment. What's your position on recording when a sitter or audience member wants to record? I let them. I let them all the time. I don't do prediction. So I've got no problems. All of my recording is of evidence, whether that be for the individual. You know, like I have your mum here, she passes of lung cancer, blah, blah, blah. It's all evidential. I don't do any prediction, so I've got no fear of that recording coming back to bite me later on. There is a lot of a lot of bad press with recording, and I've been recorded. I record my own anyway, you know, for my sitters, but you know, like a demonstration. But what happens is you get some idiots like John Donis that's of bad psychics. And he will go, well, a mum of 60 plus with cancer is generic. That's not evidence you're a fraud. And there's just no matter how we try and approach people of that mindset, they're not going to change on that. They're just debunking with no space for allowing the spirit world to be there. If you are worried about the recording because someone wants to come back and get you later on, then I would remove any kind of prediction that's going on there, because under UK law, if I said to you by the end of 2019 you will be in for a large windfall, and on New Year's Day 2020, if that hasn't happened, you can sue me under the Consumers Act. So I would be careful if that's what you're worried about. I don't know your work, so I can't say. I don't know too much on it. In my own personal context, I have no problems with them recording whatsoever. All the background and the set is a good change, looks great, and that handy whiteboard. So thank you. Just for now, it's just something I'm toying around, I'm messing around with it. So thanks for that. Are we still lost the chat? Okay, so they've reconnected it. No problem, no problem. It was from me. It was from me. Okay, Lorraine, I see spirits as around 35 years old, even if they died older. Is that normal for spirits to show themselves at around 35? No. What you're doing is you're going up to the spirit person. That feels like a cigarette. That's annoying. Why can't I get used to this? So you're going up to the spirit person here, and you're going, so what's your story? You know, like, what are you about? And they're going, well, I absolutely loved my life at around 35. I was in my absolute element. It was when life was going great and everything like that. It'll be something along those lines there, you know, something that will be in your questioning within your mind. So what we need to do is, when we're going to that spirit person, we need to be very literal. So it needs to be, as I knock on the spirit world door, I need to be literal. And in my mind, I say to them, what's your story? That's the way that I communicate. But it's also, I don't accept showing me 35 when they passed at 70. I don't accept that. So my question to them is, at what age did you die? It's very literal. It's very normal. And they'll go, well, I died at 70. However, you need to talk to this lady about when I was 35, because that's when. If your question is literal, you'll get a very literal answer. It's very, very simple in that process. I know it sounds harsh, but that's the way it is. And please, none of you be offended. I don't mean to offend you if I'm too blunt. It's just, mediumship is that easy. Cool. Will you slap Ray on Facebook? Friended him. He has not added me. And I ask, where is my CK t-shirt? And when is he on with you again? We're due to do it. And I will ask my friend Ray. I don't know why he's not on here tonight. Where's the camera gone? It's out of focus for some reason. There you go. It's back in focus. It's playing up. It's playing up today, isn't it? And it's his daughter's birthday today, I'm being told. So that's why he's not. That's why he's not on online this evening. Yes, I saw your video with the cube example. Cool. Some of the early mediums within spiritualism would talk about spirit rescue. Oh. So it's a terrible frequency. I don't know what's going on there with the live feed. It's clear on mine, so I hope that picks up. I hope the vision is clear for you there. because it is terrible on my screen here on YouTube, which drives me insane. It's so annoying. Anyway, so the reason we stay away from it now is because we're better educated. We have a better understanding of what happens. In the early 1900s, spiritualism was very new, and so they didn't understand what was going on. And they did, you know, they're very good mediums for the time, but there was a lot of fear associated with spiritualism, spirit contact. They would talk about protection and evil spirits, etc., etc. However, we know now that there's not evil spirits. If the spirit world are coming in to communicate with said medium, yeah, they can't come through. They can't come through as an angelic being if they were an absolute monster. You know, they have to give their evidence as they were a monster. But behind their evidence, their purity is their spirit. They have to project who they were. Like, I was a bit of a monster. You need to say that, because my loved one in the audience is not going to accept that I understand that now. That I realise that there is a spirit world. And so, and you also have to understand that, you know, God is perfection. You know, it's the perfection of it. And so anything less than the spirit, the people leaving the physical body, the spirit people that leave the physical and move to the spirit world, anything other than arriving in the spirit world and getting lost says that God is not perfection. And yet you've only got to look out at the night sky and see the perfection of all of that turning around, all of that absolute perfection that is out there. However, God made a mistake. There's a little back door. There's a back door. Some of them slip out of, and he ain't got that one. You know, so what will he do? I know he will send you, a medium or someone, to go and fix his mistake. So they're spirit people. They will go sit in a circle and they will walk said person to the light because God lost them. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I can feel my energy. I can feel. Accidentally summon me. Oh my God! Now Siri's piping up. What's Siri? Did you accidentally summon me? My phone has just activated itself. I don't know if you can see that. It's just activated itself. Check that out. Look at that. Did you activate me? And I'm talking about God. How Apple sorted it out. That's ridiculous. So I don't even know how I activated that. You have to look into that later. That's crazy, isn't it? So, yes, Miss Responsibility. No, the idea is ridiculous in 2019. We have a much greater understanding now. Oh, triangle. That's how I see that word. Having been taught you give everything you get, do you think there can be too much evidence and not enough message? And if so, how do you know when it's enough? What I do is during the communication, so as I speak to my people, that I've got it wrong again, haven't I? As I speak to my people from my platform, the format is 7 to 10 minutes per communication. So the evidence will stop at around 5 minutes for a 2-minute message, 8 minutes for a 2-minute message. It's going to sound terrible, but I don't know another way to say it. But the platform is like a place of... it's like a shop window, you know? It's like a shop window to spirituality. It's like a shop window to communication. In a one-to-one sitting, it's very, very different, isn't it? I mean, it's 30 minutes of communication from the loved one. So it's the message can be can be longer in a one-to-one sitting. When we're in the public domain, it's always different. So we stick to this kind of structure that we can kind of work across the board. And it is said that that is the structure that does that. Can there be too much evidence for the loved one that is receiving the evidence of their loved one? If it's good evidence, no, there will never be enough. There will never be enough. You could work for an hour and they will want more. They will want more and more. If it's more about the message, then they're actually more self-absorbed. They want to talk about themselves. They want it more to be about themselves. Then actually they want psychic work, not mediumship. Hope that helps. How can we find out our soul's purpose? Rosie is asking. That's one of the age-old questions you have to go within. Your soul purpose may be something as simple as being a mum, bringing children to the world. It may be just to help charities or help other people where you can help them. That may be it. It hasn't got to be groundbreaking. It hasn't got to do any of that. It may simply just be something very, very normal. So I think you find as you go along. Will you? I don't think you'll ever know, to be honest with you. If I'm brutally honest there, Rosie, I don't think you'll ever know. What you think it is and what it'll be when you get back there, I think will be two very different things. But we'll see one day, won't we? We'll see one day. I think if you need to develop yourself first, for me, I found my abilities through 5 years of self-awareness and insight, although I'm still learning. Yeah, and that way worked for you, Missy. For me, it was the other way around. So I didn't even think of looking at myself until I went on the path of mediumship. So mediumship taught me to look at myself and be self-aware. So for me, it's the absolute polar opposite of what it was for you. And equally, it'll be very different for every single individual, because we are that. We're individuals, aren't we? So it's whatever is right for the singular person. So Chris says, wow, that was a huge career change. I don't know. Oh, what for me? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's absolutely necessary to be in a development circle for our mediumship. No, far from it, Samantha, far from it. I developed a lot on my own, and the video is under your question. I assume you've already found that, but no, you don't have to be. It's a good playground. It's a good area to sort of exercise the skill set, but equally it can hinder and it can hold back. So there are some very good ones out there, and there are some very bad ones. I mean, it's whatever's right for you, Samantha. Yeah, so no is the answer. It's not necessary. I share you with my group and friends. That sounds terrible, but I know what you mean, and I really, really do appreciate it when you guys share the videos and share the channel and all that kind of stuff. It really does help. And as you can see, it's slowly growing. I don't know what we're up to right now. I will let you know in a very short moment. But it does it does help an awful lot when it comes in. So it's up to 829 now. But trying to get it to that 1,000. So I will have the cheeky shout out now. Please, please, please share it. Please, please, please help me to get it out there. But I want it to be organic, you know. It's one of those, the 829 that are on the channel are an organic 829. It holds value to them. I can do ads and try and attract, but I want them to have meaning. I want everyone to take something from the video. So I want the 1,000 to be organic and not just because I've put it in a sub for sub forum or something like that. So can anyone do trance? Yep, absolutely. There's your answer there. But yeah, again, it's just like mediumship. Anyone can do mediumship. So It's that simple, Rosie. I expect you're going to be on the trance workshop, so I will put your name down, and if you don't want it down, you'll have to contact me now to take it off. I'm joking. Nina, yes, I have great teachers. Good. Why does spirit come through when what some would consider unethical, bad, or judgmental mediums? If spirit is intelligent, why would they not want to work through mediums that don't distort who they are? It's one of those, I'm afraid, that the spirit world are opportunists, and they will just hope that on the day that their ethics are in place and that their judgment always are put to one side. I mean, a great example of that is physical mediumship, physical phenomena. The spirit world are in that room. When fraud takes place, they are screaming at the medium and the sitters like, you don't have to do fraud here. We are in the room. But ego, you know, self-importance within the medium will do that. And the spirit world will take their opportunity. If I'm in a hall and I'm working and I'm out for a demonstration, maybe it's the only demonstration I can make for that year because of other commitments. And it just so happens that it's a terrible medium. My loved one, that's the only place they're getting the voice that night. That's the only person they can go through. So they hope that you make the right decision. But they will take their opportunity equally. They will. So I totally get where you're coming from. But it's one of those, I'm afraid. Oh man, the chat is just reloaded there. My God, well done, you lot. I'm actually getting pleased with you lot. This is working well. What is the difference between direct voice mediumship and independent direct voice mediumship? Nothing. Independent direct. So let's say. Let's say. Need the other camera, sorry. So there, that's the voice there, and direct voice can be placed very much on the medium. So you can have it like just building a cabinet here in this area here. So the voice will actually come from this area, not from the voice box, not from the mouth, but in this area. That will be direct voice. So it's coming away. However, it can be independent direct voice. So direct voice is here on the medium, somewhere on the medium is direct voice. Independent direct voice is like, where's the camera? There, just over there, up in the corner, down there, over by that light. There, could be over there, up in the corner, up there. That would be independent. That's the difference. Charlie, what do you think about communicating with alien civilizations during trance? I met an elephant humanoid. Very intelligent and unconditionally loving. Should I continue communication? Kim, if that's something that you're into, then who am I? Who am I to dismiss that? Who am I to take that away from you? The mediumship that I offer is one of evidence, and I cannot prove an elephant humanoid being from a place or their intelligence because I have no evidence to offer. For me, if they've got that level of intelligence, they will tell me where to look. They will show me the planet they're from. They will show me what solar system I need to be looking at, so I can then verify it with evidence. And in that case, it will be scientific. So it makes sense to me on the areas that I should be looking at. There's no one that can verify it in any way. When I'm bringing someone's mother, father, brother, sister, son or daughter through, it's of an evidential value. Someone can verify this information. And that is why I do not communicate or accept that kind of communication within my mediumship. I'm trying to bring mediumship to a level where it comes under scrutiny. I want people to question it. I want people to have the faith in it that it had in the early part of the century, and take it forward, move mediumship forward to show people. And I will not get that kind of coverage or credit if I'm talking about civilizations that I have no verification for. So that's my approach. Remember, that's my approach. And please don't be disheartened by what I say. If that's something that you want to do, by all means do it. But when credit comes into it, with that kind of thing, they will destroy you. In society, they will destroy you. So I can't entertain the idea right now. So hopefully that answers your question. I really did. I don't want to offend you, but you know, it's like you saying my favourite colour is green, and I say to you, well, I hate green. You know, it's one of those things, isn't it? We just we don't agree on the subjects, but it doesn't mean either of us are wrong. I go very deep in trance. I don't often feel like there's words on the tip of my tongue, but I feel energy building in my throat and buzzing around my lips. Maybe I'm not fully letting go. I would actually say the opposite, Nina. I would. Oh, these drawings. This dude looks terrible now. Shall I give him a little bit of hair, this one? There you go. Oh, no, that looks terrible. I'm going to need to give him more hair, sorry. He's got a big nose as well. So as we're going on the marker here. So this is the trance state down here. You're going out of the workable zone. So it's not working. So if you're not feeling words or you can't do anything, but you feel the energy, you're going to a place that is called the naughty corner, because it's so good, but it's unworkable. The spirit world can't use the energy there. The way it's a very simple fix for you. You just need an active thought, which will help raise. I've just rubbed it out. That will raise the mind into a workable place. Your teacher should know this. Your teacher should see that. Have your wounds in your back healed? I actually went to see a gentleman recently. It hasn't fully healed. I'm going to need to see him again. It's more one area now, but I've had a lot of work done on it. I feel much better for it. But I'm not fully back yet. I'm not fully recovered. Misresponsibility username checks out. I don't know what that means. You should come and try trance. Oh, that's you asking Rosie. In my own philosophy, I do believe that. I do believe it's done beforehand. I do believe that, yes. Do you believe that? Right back at you there, Chris. Right back at you. What do you believe, Chris? And for those of you that don't know Chris Meredith, I think that's called, how you pronounce it. He is also a working medium with years and years of experience, available in the US. Hit him up on his profile. And make him very, very busy. I hear good things about Chris. I think he's based in LA. But I know he's going to correct me because I've done that before and he told me off. So I'm sure it'll come down the bottom there. But a wonderful man, a wonderful, wonderful man. Missy, what's best to do at home to develop? Meditation, guided meditation. I've just started a circle but took a break since my mum's recent passing. For me, meditation or guided meditation is neither the best thing to do at home. I have a video on developing on your own, which should be in the link in the chat there for you. It's something like developing on my own, and that method in there will help you succeed in your own development. Meditation or a guided meditation is a different mechanic for the mind. It's to teach you focus, but you're trying to develop a relationship that you have with the spirit world. So it's very, very different. Sean, I did a home reading for a lady yesterday. Do you think it's a good medium for sharing relationship problems with tarot? It depends, you know, like if the client has come in for tarot, I've just got to make sure I'm reading your question correctly, Sean. So the client has come in for tarot, then I totally believe that they are coming in, and maybe they asked you about relationship. Then you're giving the client kind of what they want. If you're asking me if the spirit world would do it, then it would be down to the communicator. If they want to talk about relationships in the message part, then I would absolutely go with the message in the relationship in the message part. But if you're asking me, is it ethical and should you and shouldn't you? I think you've got to play that by each individual that you see. You know, there are times when I've worked for people and I think the worst thing they could be doing is being in this relationship. It's destroying their world. I just sometimes think that it's not my place to break that relationship. But I don't know. I think we'll all have a difference of opinion there. Sometimes not. I'm going to sit on the fence on that one. Kim says, reference guided meditations, the Susanna. Is this a dream channel? Is awesome. It really pushed me forward a lot. Is this a dream channel? I assume that's on YouTube that you're making reference to. I don't know that channel at the moment, but I will look. If I find the link, I will look for it and see if it's worth doing for mediumship. Enos, thanks for all you do, Charlie. I have learned so much from your videos. Thank you very much for your comment. That is very much appreciated and helps me when I am absolutely destroyed with the progress sometimes, or it's not moving where I want it to. It just keeps me motivated when I get comments like that. So thank you very much. Oh, so Stephen Lavarcore TV is on the channel, and I know he'll be screaming at his phone or his device right now. But this guy, I love this guy. Now, he does lots of card readings and all that kind of stuff, and I don't like that kind of stuff. It's not what I'm about my work. And do I agree or don't agree with live readings? It's my own opinion. You know, that's another video. That's another topic that we can go on about. However, this guy just makes me feel good. He's always smiling. He's always helping. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of uploads the guy's getting through. He's putting in the effort. So if anyone would like a card reading, just click on his link, Stephen Lavarcore TV, and just go and subscribe to this guy, because I just love it. I love the guy, you know, and it's growing all the time. I would prefer that if someone would buy him a really good webcam and a really good mic, you know, and he will get there. And if I had the funds, Stephen, I would send you it myself. But the guy just makes me laugh. Just have a look at him and check him out. But he is a really nice guy, and I think some of you will really appreciate what it is that he has to offer. And I told Stephen I would give him a shout out. So there is your shout out. Chat's gone down again. My end. I don't know if it's still kicking up. So Missy, I had a dream last week. I was sitting next to my mum. She looked a bit younger and clapping to a song that was at her funeral. Visitation by any chance? Absolutely, absolutely. And that just feels good also, doesn't it? So that is amazing. And again, it seems like you're having some really good visitations or episodes with your loved ones. So that's something that is amazing. It truly is. I hope you value those as they come in. So I don't know what's happened to the chat, so I'm going to try and reload. I hope I don't lose you, but so you will get a very quick blank screen. My apologies, but don't jump off because I will still remain. I've pressed it, and we will see what happens here. But the chat is not rebooting. Here we go. We're back in. We're back in. So, oh my God. Oh my God, how many is there? Oh, so you scare me when you do things like this. Scare me. It's just like gone crazy. So, chat is back. You may need to refresh. Thank you. So, Stephen, why is it easier for a medium to connect for a sitter, but when connect for my own family, it's harder? Dilution, mate. So, good question, but you will over dilute because it's something you know. So, it is always easier. So, what I do is I get a few friends that I know and love very well, and I will send my loved ones to those people. Because it's just a dilution will ruin it, mate. I wouldn't even attempt it nowadays. So that's the reason. Dilution, you're overthinking it. You think you know, you dissect it and ruin it. So that's the simple reason there. Blue Feather, good evening. You're late, I suppose, but thank you nonetheless for joining us. I think that's going to change with debunkings, hopefully. Hopefully. I love that you don't curse on your lives. I can blast your live while cooking dinner. I can do that if you want me. No, not really. I wouldn't. And plus the YouTube algorithm picks it up and then makes it so it can't go out to certain places. I'm getting a lot more images in circle. Names seem to just pop in, but I am still not really connecting with the spirit's emotions. Any suggestions? Just ask. You're going to have to ask. And what I would do is when I got a vision, I would ask for the emotion that went with it. So let's say you can see someone, let's keep this really positive, and you can see someone really, really excited. I can draw it for you. How cool is that? As that emotion comes in, there's your auric field. Camera. There's your auric field. And as the information comes in, here, at this point, house. The little birdies in the sky. You got to look at the detail on that. Look at that. Look at that. That's awesome, isn't it? Yeah, I should keep this one. And then what you do is when you get this picture, is just ask for the emotion that goes with it. Ask them. So ask for the picture and the emotion. So let me make that an add sign and delete that little bit there. Let's make that an add. Plus emotion. So picture plus emotion. Yep. And you won't be aware of it at first. It won't happen at first. But because you've asked, know that it's there. You know that they're helping you. You know they're going to bring it forward. You know that they're going to help you. Then know it's there. And very quickly you will find the emotions that go with it. My apologies. I need to gulp some water. So I'll try and stifle it a little bit, okay? Misresponsibility. Okay. I'm trying to read that one. I think I'm reading it wrong. So some medium tutors instruct roll more intermediate or advanced students to roll with the reading and do not have them check evidence with the sitter. Every statement should be done. Have I missed a... Oh, yeah. The rational is because it helps with the flow and the evidence. What do you think? No, absolutely not. And the reason why is because it can help at times. I agree with what you're saying. It can help with the flow, but I think it just confuses them in time. Why not just do the legwork in the beginning? Why not just get the difficult bit out of the way? So what will happen is that Kara, you get the apple, and they don't understand the apple, and that's when it becomes the orchard. You know, it's like, because they didn't get it. So what will happen is they will say, I'm aware of an orchard, because they just rolled with it, when actually all the evidence is with the apple. So you should never, ever, in my opinion, to up your accuracy, to be more pinpoint, to dial in your evidence, it needs to be confirmed after every statement. So fair enough, the first couple, you know, I've got a gentleman here, and he shows me like the train station. So I know it's nearby his home. He's around 70 and he passes with his a respiratory condition. It's old age, it's heart failure, but I know that this respiratory condition doesn't help a lot with him. So I know that he's passing. And so at that point, I've gave you like an influx. But now every statement after that needs to be verified. So I also know that by this train station, this rail link that I've got here, there is a dock nearby. And I know that I work between the rail and the dock. I know that my job consists of working with both of these. Yes. And so now I know that, and so then I can roll on with the communication from there. If not, then it will just go off. It will just go off, and it's just like further and further from the truth, because it's just got wild. It's just gone beyond normality because we didn't get any verification. Ian, so hi Charlie, I'm sorry I'm late. How are you? I'm good. Thank you for joining. It's my birthday. Happy birthday. So that's how good is that you've joined me on your birthday? So how old? I'm joking. I'm joking. No name. Hi, no name. So you've obviously created your YouTube, so no one can see your name. So hi anyway. But feel more confident in your individuality, in your personality, than needing to hide behind a no name. Embrace yourself. Missy, the circle I go to goes straight into meditation and connecting. No explanation of how it works. Is that okay? I feel it should be explained. It should be explained. I would cut out the meditation and I would go to explaining the connection and then connect. That should be it. Have you put your dems on YouTube yet? Nope. And the more and more I think about it, the more and more I probably won't. Only because it lacks the energy, it lacks the essence of the room, and I battle with that. So unless I can find a way to bring that over, I won't be. I was using the back door. I was using that backdoor analogy. Good, right? Is it? That's artificial intelligence for you. Yep. Was told ringing in the ears is spirit. If so, how do we connect with them? How do we connect with shadow people? Okay, so I clearly need to do a video on the ringing in the ears. So it is already been discussed. It can be. I just think the spirit world are more intelligent than that. It's to move your awareness there. Look for a vision. Look for something to shift your awareness away from the ringing, and you will find the spirit world. I don't understand what the shadow people mean. So no name, you're going to have to explain the shadow people. I don't get that. I don't understand the terminology there. I think us humans just absolutely, and the spirit world in every form for the entirety of mediumship have explained simplicity, and yet we will persist on making it as hard as possible. Do you believe there's no earthbound spirits? Just curious, not saying I'm correct. There are no earthbound spirits. There are none. So I don't care. There are none. The only earthbound spirits are us. I'm earthbound and I'm spirit. So that's an earthbound spirit. If you mean when passing over, no, absolutely not. Hope, oh, that's you. Thank you once again. Your input is super helpful. It's come to know that I'm right on track. Good for you. Samantha, thank you. Thank you. Please, please, please consider live streaming to your US fans. We would pay for tickets to attend your workshops via the internet. I am currently asking someone for information, and I'm waiting to hear back. I haven't had that feedback yet, so I'm waiting. Carol's talking to me. She knows I'm on a live feed, and she knows I can't hear her. But yes, I'm waiting for the feedback, and then I will sort that out once it's up and running. Wow, brilliant. Just open my perspective on that. Sometimes the gift comes first. It's not a gift. In fact, it makes sense. Many have that. I think due to me helping others through abuse, I concentrate on self-work. Understand, there's a video about it being a gift, that it's not a gift, but I will draw it for you. So I try and make it a little bit clearer for you. So they wanna speak, and that is the communication that I pick up and give to you. So, the spirit world are talking. This is for Missy, and they want to give me their story. This right here, this information, this evidence that they send forward is the gift. This is the gift right here. That's the gift. They give the gift of communication. I tune into that information, that gift, and I give it off. I am not the gift. That is the gift. Hope that makes sense. What's happened there? It's jumped. It's gone crazy again. Here we go. So, yep. Okay, misresponsibility. We are at the point. We are at the point of the live stream where I type setting the intention, Charlie. So looking forward to your online classes for those here in the States. Marked on my calendar. It is happening. I'm just waiting for the what I need to do, what I need to get it up and running, costing, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, misresponsibility. You can also email me so I can use it as a going rate thing. What is the charges? What are people? What is the expected charge? All of you in the US, what is the expected charge? You can all email, and then I will find a place where I can sort of look at, you know, and find a happy place that I'm comfortable with. What do you call it when the spirit uses the voice box of the medium? Entrancement. It's called trance. Kim, IMO, there's probably corroborating evidence with mediums independently receiving the same info. Possibly. What is hearing your own voice in your head, yet softer sounding, was heard yet within my mind on waking up. Well, that's your spirit, Missy. So it's your own voice. No problem. I am a debunker. I agree. There are ways to do this and substantiate mediumship. Yeah, absolutely. I would maybe change your way of the title, because a debunker is someone that just don't leave any kind of room for any kind of beyond reasonable doubt information. It kind of like, you can be skeptical and you can look for ideas and you can look for it, but I think it's just, I think with debunkers, they are just looking for the failing in it. Whereas sometimes we may mess a bit up, but that doesn't mean that it should all be ruled out. That question wasn't mine, it was for someone else. I have witnessed authentic demonstrations of mediumship. Absolutely. Rosie, at what level in your mediumship was you before you publicised that you were practicing working medium, e.g. to work, colleagues, friends, etc.? Very early on, because I needed real-time practice. So very early on I would ask friends of friends to help me with sitters. So at your level, Rosie, I did that very, very early on, just to throw myself in the deep end. So very near beginner, and then done it that way. Do you think that practicing mediumship online with just a link of a name or a photo or partnering up with someone is as valid as a live reading? It's as valid. I have to give you that, Jane. It is as valid. If you're producing the evidence, then it's valid, isn't it? For me, it lacks the essence of a sit-in. It lacks the essence of the room. The spirit world joined the room, and there's just no way of getting that across in a live reading. And that, in all honesty, is the reason my demonstrations are not online, and I won't do live readings. I just don't agree with it in that sense. So for me, and the angle I want to take my work down, it's just not for me. It's just not who I am. And, you know, it's, you know, I will end up offending people, and I don't want to offend them. I don't like it. I don't agree with it in that sense. But it's as valid if you are producing evidence. So, Stephen Lavar says, do you know why my readings on mediumship online is not as strong as when I can hold an object with psychometry in person? Yeah, because they're not in front of you. They're not there. Now, it makes sense that if you are US, aren't you? You're in the US of A. And they are in Oz, and they are in Spirit. There you go. That worked. It makes, oh bloody hell. It makes sense because they would just connect there, and they would connect to there, so they would connect to the medium and their loved one in Oz, and the only connection that needs to be made up is here with you guys. Let's get that right. Yeah. So this link here is failing, and that's because you've got this screen going on and all that kind of stuff. When they're directly in front of me, it's much better because I have the energy. I can work on the relationship of the client while maintaining my link to the spirit world. So it makes absolute sense with what you're saying. Thank you. No problem. Johnny, this is the channel. It's not for mediumship outwardly, but it's very powerful and is technically for astral projection. Cool. So, oh, there it is. Right. Okay. Got it. I'm not going to open that just yet. Thank you. Yes, more. Yes. Manifesting the webcam. Oh man, that just jumped. Thing. I was born at an early age and not LA. Oceanside, California. And yes, I teach and believe that also. Cool. So Chris Meredith is from California. I look forward to a Q&A every time. They have been absolutely invaluable in my development. You would be huge here in the States. We need your simplicity to mediumship. I want to come to America. I know that if I go, it will be tough. It will be a hard journey, but one that I am prepared to put the legwork into. There's another lady that I've seen her name further down, Cheryl from the US. So I would absolutely love to make it happen, but it's got to be, I've got to do it right, you know, I've got to get it right. So it will get there, it will get there. You answered my questions, no problem. No problem. I often hear mediums get physical symptoms from spirit. This never happens to me. Am I not blending enough? Or is this just normal for me? It's just normal. It's normal. I often hear mediums get physical symptoms from spirits. So just so I know what you mean, I assume you mean like if I'm being stabbed or my passing was being stabbed and I'm now in the spirit world, as that communication takes place, I feel like I'm being stabbed. That's normal for me. If that's not happening for you, you can ask them to ease that in. You can ask them to ease it in for you. Because if you are getting a sensation or a vision or a sound or an emotion, you have to remember that when spirit gives us the information, so spirit gives info, we are just translating it. We are... So that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes down. Spirit, information, and I translate it. That's what a medium is. I'm translating it. I'm just an energy translator. You know, like when I work in Geneva, I need a French translator. This is all I'm doing. I'm translating energy into the English language. No problem. No problem. That's the spirit world, no name. I see people and they look like a shadow. They just walk by me. That's the spirit world. You just connect, ask it a question, ask them, and they will answer you. That's what it is. It could also be that Kim Belladini. Perhaps it is a memory of the past. Perhaps it is that. It could also be that. But the way you ask the question, if it doesn't answer you, that's what it'll be. It'll be a memory or a form of the past, just in the fabric of that place. Email. Perfect. So, well, good, Missy. That's a good thing. Ian says, Charlie, are you in the Colchester area anytime soon? I am. If you hop onto my Facebook page, it will show you where and when I am there. I know that that's coming up soon. You are? Okay. I prefer sitting with a real person. I agree. Me too. It's just, you know, I prefer it that way. To follow up on Enos' question about the voice box changing, one medium says it is ectoplasm. How do you know if it is ectoplasm versus them just lowering or raising their own voice? Is it really spirit? You won't know if it's really ectoplasm unless you are in light conditions, because you will see the ectoplasm. But it's not just ectoplasm. You'll have to forgive me because I don't know the name, and if I've got any physical mediums hiding on the feed here, maybe you can help me with the terminology. But there is one that is used with energy, so you won't see that anyway. But if you work with the medium time and time and time again, and you will recognize that they can't keep reproducing the same voice. So absolutely, if it's independent, then you know there's absolutely no questions about it. It's independent. It's over there in the corner. It's up there in the corner. It's independent. But I think your sensitivity tells you anyway, doesn't it? So California, Southern California, Triangle, get on the email, mate. You tell me how many people, you tell me what it's going to cost, and we'll set it up, and I'll come to California. I'll be there very, very quickly. We've just got to organise it. Kim, upstate New York, same to you. Get on the emails, and me and the admin will absolutely work something out where I go to the US and I work it out. It's one of those things that I will definitely be introducing to my mediumship. I think they might be talking about physically feeling the cause of death or death state. Absolutely. And I asked for that. So when I see it, I've asked for the feeling so I can sort it out. So I can get used to the feeling of the passing. That way I can really dial in the passing conditions so they know that it's their loved one. So yes, that's normal for me, but I had to work on it. And so Michelle, just work on it, ask, and it will come for you. Okay, a reading I did was not understood and it was suggested to do an open link. I don't feel comfortable with this. As some open links I've seen, I could take 70% off if desperate. What do you think? I don't understand how you're doing. I did a reading. So Jane, you say, I did a reading and it was not understood. Do you mean like in a congregation? So you did a link, but you went direct and it wasn't understood. I kind of need a little bit more on your question so I answer you properly. Perfect. So Kim's in Long Island. Yep. So I done Brooklyn, Manhattan. I done Manhattan last year. So it just needs organising. If you organise it and we can sort of get it up and running, then let's do it. I mean, let's do it. If you want quality mediumship and sessions and workshops, then I will absolutely do it. It's just it just needs organising. Missy, does spirit come when it's time to start the journey of mediumship, or do we develop it, or is it both? Is it our choice, or does it come to us? What do you think? It's a choice. It's absolutely a choice. If you want to do it, you'll do it. The spirit world are always there. They're constantly there. So this is quite a lame way of doing it, but I will try my absolute best to give it. So if that so if this let me change the camera. So if this is the spirit world, they are the light. So I've drawn that as a light bulb, okay? If that light was to shine down, so higher frequency, lower frequency. So if they shine their light over life, they see the beginning and the end in a single view. It's just all in one. You can see it all at once. So spirit are always there throughout your life journey. That's the easiest way I can do that. Yeah, cool. So okay, let me see. That's it. Oh man, it just jumped again. For God's sake, online reading. Okay, so maybe you're just with the wrong person. I doubt it very much with the online reading. Have I jumped that far? That is online reading. So Jane, you just need to repackage it. Your client hasn't understood what you've said. That's not to say that you're wrong. You've just presented it wrong. So let me give you an example. In my mediumship, if I talk about cooking and I see a chef and I see them in my mind cooking and they're like Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen, it means they never cooked a meal in their life. So it just means that your information just needed repackaging, Jane. So you're right not to just go out open, but it's just a dial in what you've said. So you get the death state without really asking for it. And it's one of what you've got to try and do. This board has come in valuable today, hasn't it? So what you're trying to do here is this is your conscious mind, and this is your subconscious mind. And so your mediumship needs to sort of blend these two together. So in some instance in your development, you have been asking for their passing condition, but now the subconscious and the conscious are working together here, that you don't need to ask it in mediumship. The answers are already starting to come in here. So you will have five, six, seven questions that you would usually ask, and those would be answered in this area here. So although you say, I don't really ask for the death, you have before, that's why they're filling it in this section here. Woo. Yeah, so an hour, Long Island, yeah. So it's not far from Manhattan, is it? But, yeah, cool. So just set it up, and it will happen. I promise you it will happen. I will go, but I just need... I don't know anyone there. I need an organizer. So that's where we thrash it out. That's what we do. I will definitely be in the States, definitely. I don't do public trance, Chris. I don't do it. It's not developed enough for me to do. But I understand what you mean. The trance may possibly work, but for me it would be the same. I'm going to hold you to that. What is the difference between your soul and your spirit? For me, nothing. It's just a different label. Yeah, absolutely. And the online will definitely happen, but I plan on doing both. So the online courses and traveling to the US. Sometimes I ask spirits to show me, but they make me feel it rather than a visual. I have been told it's because I'm not ready to see this, right? It could be that you've been told that you're not ready to see it, you know. Sometimes I ask spirits to show me, but they make me feel it rather than a visual. I have been told it's because I'm not ready to see this. You know, maybe the story is best told in a feeling rather than a visual. But you can see everything that they give. You are the translator of that energy. You are. So if this is spiritual energy here, if that is spiritual energy, I will translate it in a feeling. I will translate it in an audio. I will translate it in a taste or a smell or a visual. the choice is yours. You're the translator. So it doesn't make sense to me. Know that you can do it. There's an element of doubt in your mind that you can't do it, and that's why you're not getting it. You are? Yeah, cool. So last question now, and I will round it up. I've just tipped the 2-hour mark, so that's why my throat's hurting. So yeah, so me too. I just think labels and banners they're getting on my bloody nerves, to be honest with you. So I'm going to start talking about it a lot more freely. So soul and spirit the same, yes, agree. So many have different explanations. It's not as complicated as the explanations, absolutely. Simplicity, spirit is simplicity. It's so simple. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. Those in the US, you need to get on the emails where Carol, I'm sure, will take over the emails. I will absolutely be coming to the US, and I will definitely be doing the online thing in the US to get some sort of legway into the US. So share it, share the live feed, share the videos, tell your friends about the channel. Let me know in the videos which video was the one that you come to my channel for. Get in the comments, because it all helps and it puts me in suggested, which then helps the channel grow. And it's all about making the channel grow for me. So thank you for joining me so much. And I will schedule another one. It isn't scheduled yet. But I'm sure I will have a video up for you guys on Friday. I will try my best. My diary is very busy at the moment. But any video ideas, also just leave in the comment of the latest video on the channel, and I will write them down and I will get through it in some way. If you would like a visual aspect, I may even bring my new yellow board into my videos. We will see. But it's great. It's great to see so many questions. And so many of you sticking around and spending the evening with me. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all Friday. Speak soon.